This is my character Bible.
3, 2, 1.
I know I said in one of my earlier videos that it's better to learn your pronunciation first, master your pronunciation, and then afterwards, then you can start learning as many characters as you want. It is okay to do it simultaneously, but mastering your pronunciation really is key. But today we're not really going to focus on pronunciation. Of course, if I say the pronunciation of a word, okay, then we also talk about the pronunciation, but this video is more about learning and practicing to write Chinese characters. Chinese characters are very different to what we're used to. We are used to writing 26 letters, A, B, C, all the other letters, and then putting them in a certain order to form a word. D-O-G, dog, C-A-T, cat, A-P-P-L-E, apple, P-E-N, pen. I have an apple, I have a pen, apple pen. You can make a song about that. But Chinese is very different. It's one picture with a pronunciation, so a syllable and a tone, like Mao or Dan or Hao or Gao. There are so many syllables, and again, there's only a limited amount of syllables. So once you know all the syllables, then that's it. But the writing is really not that difficult. It just takes practice, and in the beginning it can be a struggle because especially your muscles, your muscle memory has to be trained, and that's why it's vital to practice Chinese as much as possible. How can you best do that? Well, okay, you take the Chinese characters that you have to learn from your textbook or from a website or an app that you use, and let's say you do 5 characters a week in the beginning. Once you progress, you can do more characters. What you need is a grid paper, and you need a pen, preferably a pen with a thin tip. If you don't have a pen with a thin tip, any pen or pencil will be fine. Pencil you have to be careful, but because when you write Chinese, sometimes when you first put your pen down, you have to press and go down, or you have to go left or right or up and down. So when you first put it down, you have to press a little bit. That's because that's when you do calligraphy. In the olden days, they used ink and a brush, so it's like plop, you put it down and you go down, and plop, and you go to the right. And now you just have to mimic that with a pen or a pencil. So you take that, and then you take your characters, and then you start writing. Take 4 squares from the grid. I told you have to use grid paper. So you divide a character up into 4 parts. Now, some characters, they take up all the space. And so if you take a character like 人, like for human being or people, it's just you go from up and down, and then you go like this. That's it. 2 strokes. You've written your first character. Yeah, see? Not that difficult. Chum, chum, 人. So stay within the 4 quadrants. Then a character like 大, which is a man with his arms wide, like this. Big. 大 means big. So 1, 2, 3. I'm using my fingers here, but you can also see it up in the screen if my editing works okay. Then it's actually funny that when I first started learning Chinese, you ask a Chinese person, how do you write this character? Like, you hear a pronunciation, like, what character do you mean? They go, oh, this one. You go, what was that? But actually, once I also learned more Chinese and I got more advanced, I also started doing that, especially after I was assimilated into Taiwanese society. I also started doing this to other people when other Chinese learners asked me, how do you write this character? I said, oh yeah, let me show you. Like, oh, we cannot read that. No, you cannot read air writing? That's so strange. I thought everybody could. So 4 quadrants divide up the character. And a character like for money, 钱, so 钱 is like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then this, and then this. So you use the left side and the right side. So these 2 quadrants and these other 2 quadrants. There are also characters that use the upper 2 and the lower 2, or even all the 4 quadrants, a different piece inside those quadrants. So divide up your characters when you are writing, and there's a certain order to it. Write each character 30 times, 40 times, 50 times, 100 times, because you need the muscle memory. Again, there is no shortcut. As with anything in life, there are no shortcuts. You have to put in the practice. If you just want to learn some words, to go to a restaurant, to order food, that's also fine, okay? But if you want to master Chinese, if you want to say, hey, I know Chinese, then the writing is a very important integral part of learning Chinese. You cannot say I know Chinese if you only know how to write 100 characters. That is not knowing Chinese. Maybe it's a little bit harsh. Maybe some people hearing this go in the comments, how can you say that? But it's true. If you say, oh, I know English, but you only know how to write 100 words in English, would you say to the person, okay, your English is very good, okay, you know some English, you know some Chinese, but you haven't mastered the language. Now, you don't have to master it like you are a professor in college and you know all the characters there are in Chinese. That's not necessary. It is said that you will only need about 3,000 characters for your daily life in China or in Taiwan or in any other Chinese-speaking country. You only need 3,000 characters. Now, I have with me here what I call my character Bible. Let me show you. This is my character Bible. It's the 3,000 most frequently used characters, okay, by the Far East Book Company. See if you can get this. I got this many years ago. I don't know if it's still in print. If I find it, I will put the link in the description. But yeah, here's the title. And why is this such a great book? Okay, it is not really a dictionary, because knowing how to use a Chinese dictionary is a skill in itself, and I will make a future video about this. But this dictionary works alphabetically. Normally Chinese dictionaries don't work alphabetically. It goes by how many strokes there are and which order, and so like I said, it's a skill in itself. This is alphabetically. So if you know the pronunciation is, for instance, ma, you go, oh, ma, this with an M, M-A. Then you go in your book and you go, okay, M-A, oh, right here. Here I have all the pronunciation with ma. But which tone was it? Ma. Okay, that's the third tone. So of course it goes, first you get the mas with the first tone and the second and the third, and you go in the third tone, and here you have all the characters that are with the third tone, okay? And this book even gives you the stroke order, so in which order to write the character. So you can use this book when you're writing, put it next to you, and when you forget or when you're just practicing, you can use this book. Maybe there are other books like this out there, but I would highly recommend using a book like this to teach you the stroke order. There are many websites, of course, as well, but this is my advice: don't just learn Chinese from an app or learn it from a website. Learn it by actually, using your hand, your muscles, your muscle memory, and your pen and paper. It is a kind of gongfu, because gongfu is not just the kicking and punching that people think. Gongfu, this means the effort you put into something to master it. That is kung fu, that is gongfu. Writing is also a kind of kung fu, a kind of, in Chinese, gongfu. You don't get that by just staring at a tablet or listening to an app or looking at it. That's not how it works. So it needs to be second nature. Like a real Kung Fu, somebody attacks from the left side, you know how to block, you know how to do this, you know how to kick and punch. It's the same with Chinese. When you hear the pronunciation of the word ma, horse, okay, chop, 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 I write it. It has to become second nature, it has to become a muscle reflex. And you only get that by actually practicing with your hand, with your muscles. Let me recap. So take a pen or pencil, a grid paper, divide the grid paper into, the grid paper, use 4 quadrants of the grid paper for each character, and then start writing. And make sure all the character fits inside the 4 quadrants. Not always easy, because if you saw my first characters that I ever did, oh my god, atrocious. But practice makes perfect. So I hope you like this video. Some tips about writing. If you need more help with that, leave something in the comments. If you like to also ask me other questions about Chinese, especially Chinese writing, you can leave it down in the comments as well, and just let me know how your practice went. And then see you in the next video. And for now, go out and have fun with Chinese. 继续加油!